the most creatively profound man in cyberspace.
All right. Ding, ding, good people. This is your boy, Mr. Political, a great state of Florida. The Democratic Party did something that Willie Lynch could never do. That they had a funeral. That they had laid the body that would take 1,000 years to come to pass. The Democratic Party has ordained this funeral. Yes, it is true. The Democratic Party has done you in. And even though they have trolls like Charlamagne the God, D.L. Hughley, Oprah Winfrey, Steve Harvey, the list goes on and on, those who pander for the destruction of their own people. They follow the doctrine of Willie Lynch. But even now, even in the midst of turmoil, they're confused because they're trying to make up their mind whether or not they're going to go the full distance in betraying their people or go the full distance and get the 30 pieces of silver from Lazarus' table. Yes, this is true. This is true. Okay? Approximately 2.5 years ago, the city council of the great, I don't even know what to call it anymore. It's just a rat-infested, immigrant-infested city of New York with a whole bunch of stupid black folks who want to live to be Democrats, but all the while they're Afro-Americans who follow the drum of the Democratic Party, have made up their mind that their vote doesn't matter. That their vote, even in the beat, their vote, because this is full of smoke, don't really matter. That they had plotted and schemed and connived together to make sure that the immigrant has the right to vote. They will do each and everything to stop you from voting, but they're going to make sure that the Democrats who did not, will not, even participate in the American way, don't want to be Americans, they just want to be here for American money and American benefits. Even their own representative said that the taxpayer dollars that you work each day belong to the immigrant and that they have a right to decide who should be in political power. Not you, not the one who pays taxes, but the one who don't want to pay taxes, the one who come here, who don't want to assimilate by speaking the English language. Now, others would say this is a lot of hate. But when you got a yellow girl who is pushing the narrative, hear me very carefully, the narrative, and even Black Ice had said it best when he had labeled his album The Death of Willie Lynch, that he knew that this heifer was going to pull out all the stops like she normally do. Girls go wild. And she doing what she normally do because she fully understands. The 25th Amendment is hanging over your head, good people, in New York and Boston and Chicago, St. Louis, Denver. It's hanging over your head because she understands that Creepy Joe is not going to go the distance, that he going to get knocked out. Even if we make a Freudian slip and ask our children, which in the state of Florida, they better not dare touch that phone. Because if you're not over the age of 18, you cannot get on social media and understand what the Democratic Party is doing to you. That you will not be able to allow your children in the midst of a storm to understand that the Republican Party is trying to save this country. I'm not supporting the Republican Party. I'm not supporting the Democratic Party. I'm supporting the largest party in America, the black man, which is being maligned at each and every turn by those, I want to be nice and call them blackface entertainers and cotton pickers that work for the NFL and the NBA. And social media personalities like Charlamagne the God, when he try to save his own ass, he throws his side bitch under the cover. But he's still going to vote for it, and they have little secret meetings, because you know Kamala Harris, okay, a.k.a. the piss-colored heifer, love to have meetings in back doors where nobody but social entertainers and those who make jokes about your color and those who sit up there and say that you don't matter and your children don't matter while she's pushing the narrative of you aborting your children, had secret meetings with these social entertainers, these race traders. Yes, I call them race traders, and I call any of them on the carpet. Let's have a talk, because, see, they got us into that, because we are people of low self-esteem, because we can only be the people of low self-esteem because the question still needs to be answered. Why people in Chicago not asking for a recall of Brian Johnson? Why people in New York ain't asking for a recall? Why people in Boston not asking for a recall of these elected officials? Why are young black mayors sitting with Kamala Harris and not asking real questions like, why my men got to pay child support under Title III casing, but your immigrants don't have to pay nothing? That they children get free lunch and you got to scrape up your pennies and your nickels for your child to get free lunch. But it ain't free for you because you got to pay for theirs. And the big question, what the hell is Black America going to get out the deal? Because at this juncture right now, we need to be concerned. You willing to give up your tax dollars? You willing to give up your place after 400 years of struggle? You even willing to send your daughters and sons to fight their wars so they can be free? But you're not concerned about your freedom. You're not concerned about your slice of the pie. You're only concerned about how well they live. You bellyache and you cry. And just like Malcolm say, and maybe I twist it about, maybe I turn it about, but the meaning is still the same. If they don't get it right, it's not a question of the ballot. It's not a question of the bullet. Because out of those states turn red, or they will turn red in the streets. Now others, Mr. Charlie's right, dripping of his right nut, would say that I'm inciting. But when people have nothing left, when people see that their existence and that what little that they have fought and gained is being taken away by those who are using their non-acceptance of the American way, their unwillingness to assimilate, their unwillingness to pay taxes, and their only concern is not being an American citizen, but how much money they can make through those countries and their families over there. Put all their asses out. Put all their asses out. My concern is that the great state of Florida has sent additional highway patrolmen and National Guard troops to the border. Okay? That puts us over 50 governors who are sending these units to the border. That Joe Biden is still trying to convince you that it is best to cut a deal for the migrant worker who don't want to be American so he can be here instead of closing the border. It don't take but an executive order. It don't take but a recall of your elected official for this foolishness to stop. Throughout the land, people in Chicago, people in New York, y'all some silly bitches. That's what I said. You some silly bitches. You go throughout the nation threatening everybody how bad you are, how tough you are, because you can get an illegal gun or you can sell drugs. How about you go to the ballot box and remove those who are taking from your children? Won't you show me one inkling of manhood and posse up to the voter registration and put your name and stand as an example to your children instead of sitting at their bellyache and talking about how the Bronx and Queens and Chi-Town is so tough and that's where it's at. But you can't fight for your children. You can't fight for a roof over your head. You can't fight for the right to work. You can't fight for the right to have your children have safe, and I guess we can really say, because we're going through it in the state of Florida, that those children which they are bringing in do not have communicable diseases that will put your children back and put your children in the grave. Oh, yes, that's right. We have an epidemic in the state of Florida, and it's primarily because we have immigrants who are being allowed in the school system without shots. These are questions that need to be asked to Kamala Harris, the piss-colored hoe. Yes, that's right. I call her a hoe, and gonna keep calling her a hoe. And I thank Lance for allowing me to have an opportunity to address you and try to urge you to go to the supervisory election and ask that your party affiliate be changed, not for you, not to send a message to the Democratic Party, but to save your children's equity in this country, to save your children's right to be existed and treated equally in this country, that your reparations, $11 trillion over 9 cities, and now that they sitting up there and got hip to the fact that everybody's watching, they're sneaking them throughout the country, and they coming to Florida, even to a corner near me, because in my city, the city of Cocoa, we got close to 11,000 of them in here now. So I ask you to do a better thing for your children, because I'm going to do for my child who don't want to live in the city of Cocoa, because the opportunities are not here. That the Negro Klan and its minions through the Democratic Party have chosen the replacement theory, that they are benefiting by purchasing land so they can put migrants in your neighborhood and put you on the street. And then at the same time, look at you as less than because they have learned how to get on their knees and swallow from the throat down to the anus. That's what a race trader do. Any piece of meat, and I ain't talking about barbecue, I ain't talking about baked, I'm talking about the meat that swings between the Democratic Party's legs, that all you can do is take a mouthful and swallow and watch your children have nothing. So as YouTube, as any social media sits and tells you that it is in your best interest to sacrifice for these individuals who call you lazy, who don't pay taxes, who commit crimes and don't have to post bail, that it is better for you to sacrifice for them than for you to stand up for your children's rights in this country. So the next time, and I ask anyone from Chicago, I ask anyone from New York, I ask anyone from Dallas and Houston and Boston and any other state that allows and city that allows this sanctuary city bull crap to do a better job in your perception on how you send, how strong you are in your community. Because a strong community, they ought to go to the ballot box or they use the bullet. But either way, it is the best way. We can't advocate violence, but violence is coming. And when the violence comes, you will see how less of a human being you are, that they will attack you in the hopes to save the immigrant. That white police officer has so much hatred for you, he will kill you over a non-citizen. Mr. Charlie will allow you to have your food stamps and your housing and everything cut off. But he will tell you it is better for you to take the illegal alien and put it in your house. You already got children to feed, and he wants you to put them in your house. What are we getting out the deal? Why isn't those leaders you keep grabbing every 4 years and every 8 years, why you not asking them the hard questions? Why you still trying to be nice like he gonna throw you a crumb from Lazarus' table? Well, I got bad news for you. They done took the table and they done took the crumb, and he decided that he gonna opt out of you and go with the illegal alien, because with the illegal alien he can continue for 1,000 years under Willie Lynch, keep on making his money, and then you be looking po-mouth because you think you have advanced so far in this country that you can give social grace to people who don't have your best interest at heart, ain't gonna do a damn thing for you, ain't gonna vote for your initiative, because you won't even vote to save your life. So why should he? I wish you would really, and this is negative, so I must say it, I wish you would stop crying and take your tail to the ballot box to recall these individual race traitors, these young black mayors, these young black female mayors, these young black politicians who are bought and paid for by the Democratic Party. And as soon as the Democratic Party is through, they're going to switch horses in midstream and run to the Republican Party like they were Republicans all the while, but they just pimping the game. You keep on putting your faith in black people who don't even recognize that they're black, and they go by the title of Afro-American. When you do something wrong, you black. When you do something good that they like, and then you Afro-American. If you run up and down a football field, or you go on the Today Show and act like you from Africa with fake braids in your hair, trying to set a standard for the ignorant Negro, the stupid Negro, who don't want to realize that his own people, these pretty ones with the brown shoes and the blue suits and the funny looking socks, who sit up there and each and every term during Black History Month takes an opportunity to say that only a certain class of black people, only a certain group of black people, only a certain group of Afro-Americans who take the mark of the beast are worthy to see the next decade. That your children should be aborted, but their children shouldn't be aborted. We have people who are taking their embryos, and for you Afro-Americans who do not know what an embryo is, that is one of the major cells that create life, that help bring life into existence. They having problems having babies, but they don't have no problem with your piss-colored heifer telling you to abort your children. That the fake weaves who come on at 4 and 6 and go on their own little TV programs that they try to make a similarity of BET to tell you that it's all right, you go to a Negro college, you abort your children, you treat your people bad, you lie to them and businesses and say, well, we have to do this because we want to be black. We have to follow the rules of the white man because we want to move up the economic chain. This is what's going on. So when you see that black politician in the next 3 months come in your face, and when you see individuals like Spike Lee, because it hurt my heart that Spike Lee would go to a secret meeting with a piss-colored heifer that can't even tell you what race she is. Yes, all those black entertainers, all those individuals who showed up at that meeting and participated in the destruction of their race because they believe that they got more money than you and that they are the future, and they speak for you. but they don't ask none of the questions that concern you. They only answer the questions and ask questions that concern Mr. Charlie in the left dripping of his right nut and his side bitch, that piss-colored heifer y'all call VP, who waiting for Creepy Joe to drop dead so she can move in there under the 25th and the 24th Amendment. Because he ain't going to make it. His numbers ain't climbing. And for them to sit up there and say that at least 35% of Americans have faith in Creepy Joe, them are the ones who are on Medicaid. And not because they are injured and they need help. They're on Medicaid because they suffer from mental defects. If you are still following the Democratic Party, if you are looking at the Republican Party as the replacement of the Democratic Party in the belief that if you play this game that you making money like Mr. Charlie and that you need to posse up with the Republicans, then you a bigger damn fool than they think you are. That Kool-Aid, and all of the above is what you consume. That you don't want better for your children. That you don't want your children to know that they're being replaced by Lupe's children. Because Lupe children going to stay. Their parents going to go back home, and Lupe children going to send money out the country so they can have a better life. So when this bitch belly up, the same way they come in is the same way they going to run out this motherfucker. And I'm sorry, but that's the truth. And I know the truth hurts because it don't come in a fashion which you comfortable with. But the truth don't come in politically correct speech. It just comes. And while he on top of you, the Democratic Party and the quota color purple, they going to get on top of you, they going to do their business, and you're going to look dirty. Because you was a willing candidate to your own destruction. But the anger, the disappointment, and the disgust and the shame that we all share the same color. I'm talking to my people. Any white people that are listening, you're more than welcome to listen. Because we ain't got no beef with you because we know your pockets is thin too. We see it every day. Their pockets is just as thin as you. So you need to redirect your hate toward that poor white, toward that white who has money, that white who sit up there and see the country going through what it's going through, but they more concerned about the immigrant because the immigrant is cheap labor for the businesses that they own. The same businesses that tell you it's illegal for you to be homeless. The same businesses who want to cut your benefits and make sure your children don't eat so they can get a decent education so Ukraine can be free. But once again, somebody out there, anybody out there, may they be black or white, tell me what the hell I'm going to get out the deal by giving Ukraine $90 million. You tell me what I'm going to get out the deal, because in New York they gave them $135 million and they get ready to give them $365 more million. So what the hell am I going to get out the deal? How many of them going to pay child support? And have they been automatically told in the process of being American, you can't be no American if you got a child support? Oh, that's right. You're not listed in America. That's why you out there committing crimes, because you're not in the database system. They ain't got all your information. So you can just run riot. You can do what the hell you want, commit murders. You can do whatever you want because you're not an American citizen, but you want to vote. You want to pick leadership, but you don't want to pay no taxes. And they say, well, this is hateful speech. And how dare those black people? How dare them even try to act like they racist? Only racist in America is us, and I feel offended that you want to be racist too. No. Our qualm is not racist. Our qualm is one of self-survival. Okay? Now, please, black people, please, Afro-Americans, do not pick the bullet, but pick the ballot box. And how you pick the ballot box? That it is time for recall of Brian Johnson. It's time for recall of the mayor of New York. And any other black mayor that feels that he needs to put his people last so he can get future votes in the future. Okay? That's a blackface politician. That's what a blackface politician do. If a blackface politician can't answer your questions about your qualms, you ain't got no business voting for him. You ain't got no business campaigning for him. You ain't got no business even giving no money to even move his campaign. Don't keep believing the lie. The lie that they've been propagating through you since Lyndon B. Johnson and the Willie Lynch came into play in this country in the 60s. It's time to wake up, good people. And everybody, it don't feel your pain anymore. If you can't go and save yourself, if you can only say, well, we going to let the Green Party and we ain't going to do nothing for the Democratic Party. If you ain't going to do nothing for the Democratic Party, why y'all not marching on their convention in Chicago? Why you ain't dealing like your mothers and fathers when they didn't treat you right? You marched on their convention, you shut them down because he shut down the only piece of detection that you had in your community when guns came into play. And then they played with the data so you'll look like a dumbass. And now they tired of using you. They want to have a convention in your city. I'm talking about Chicago. That's how silly these niggers in Chicago is. They going to allow them people to come and party in their city. And then going to use the police department to protect those who are trying to take away from you. And you ain't even got sense enough to get away from your TV, get away from your blunt, get away from your drugs, get away from your alcohol, get away from your gambling, and your super mayors, and go down to the Democratic Convention and shut them down. Shut them down. Don't even allow them to even enter the building. And if they enter the building, make up so much noise that every multimedia shows the rest of the country that you tied. And if Chicago ain't marching on the Democratic Party's convention, you a damn fool. So stop crying. Talk about what the immigrants doing to you. You need to cry on what you're doing to your damn self. Where's your dignity? Where's your self-respect? Where's your even inkling to even stand up and piss? Because your women do a better job sitting on the toilet than you do. Now, these are hurtful words and shameful words, and a lot of hate gonna come back for these words. But who cares at this junction? Because the best way to get a silly Afro-American to do something about his situation is talk about his ass in the street. So let's talk about their asses in the street. Let's talk about the Negroes in New York in the street. Let's talk about the Negroes in Chicago in the street. Let's talk about the niggas in Cleveland. Let's talk about all those cities that have large black populations who are allowing this to occur to their children. But you'll pick up a gun and kill me because I share the same skin with you and the same plight with you. But you won't fight so your children can have. You won't show up at the Democratic Party and say this is enough and we don't want you here. If you really don't want the Democratic Party in your town, then you will not allow that convention to occur. If you allow that convention to occur, then the message that you send it to the rest of Black America is that you like it, so we gonna love it. Okay? Stop chasing those biscuit-eating Negroes who take him from you. And it saddens me to even think that Spike Lee would even participate in that bull crap. Because it's most apparent after he got his check for doing the right thing, he don't know how to do the right thing. That's right. He got a check for doing the right thing, but he don't know how to do the right thing. He don't know how to sit up there in the midst of the secret meeting with his homeboys, D.L. Hughley and all the rest of them old cotton-picking football players and the entertainers and all of them, okay, because they focusing on the black man vote. They getting ready to get out there and convince you that you need to play high school games and pay this popularity contest and jigaboo and sand dance for the Democratic Party while your children doing without, while you got immigrants infecting your children with all kind of diseases, when you sit up there and have your schools closed, all right, and your elderly don't have community centers. You good with that? Because I'm going to talk about you. And you need to be talked about. No need for friendly conversations when individuals won't even protect themselves. Because it's easy for me to say what is right and what is wrong from my perspective as an elderly man. But I look at it from the standpoint as an elderly black man, we used to fight. Even if we had to march to your door and knock on your door and stand outside so you couldn't get next to that ugly heifer that you sleep with, we still show up at your house. And if you got beef, like Spike Lee got beef against black people, D.L. Hughley got beef against black people, Charlemagne the God, and he ain't no God, got beef against black people, Oprah got beef against black people, Tyler Perry got beef against black people. You see it, but you stand silent. And you're going to allow them to ease in with their limousines and their Learjets and their big money because all you good for is a dollar. All you good for is being pimped. That's what Chicago stands for now. Okay? Where is Bernie Mac when you need him? Because, see, Bernie Mac will tell you, I ain't scared of them motherfuckers. So how about you do the same? This is your boy, Mr. Political. And it may sound like a rant, but at any time, if you're truly a black man and the blood of your ancestors running your veins, you get angry to see niggers get on any media and bellyache about what somebody doing to them, but they won't get off their ass and fight back. And it's easy to fight back. When the Democrats come into the House, you get your picket and your comfortable shoes and a lunch, and you show up on their doorstep because they show coming to a house near you. So how about you meet them at the door and you tell them what your so-called entertainers, your so-called celebrities, your so-called cotton-picking NFL players and NBA players with their white wives. Okay? You hear what I'm saying? These are hateful things, but these are true things. So if you ain't picking in the Democratic Party when they come to the town near you, when they sit up there and they have their representatives from the NAACP, yes, the NAACP, who allow a white woman to change her hair and go into a tanning bed and tell them as part of leadership that I identify as a black person. I'm not black, but I identify as a black person. You understand what identification means? That means at your leisure, you can change back to being white. But you allow them to sit up there in the NAACP and talk to you while they're white, while they spray on their tan, and then they use chemicals to curl their hair. And then they tell you, I'm black like you. But the only thing is, the only time you can get away from your blackness is when they put you in the coffin. She can change up anytime she wants to. She does that to get a hold to the money which is given to you, to get a hold to the money that's given to your women so you can create an enterprise and an economic situation for yourself. But only Afro-Americans support that. Black people see it for what it is. So if I don't see you at the Democratic Convention in Chicago, because we watching you, Chicago, We asking you to do the right thing since you support individuals like Spike Lee and D.L. Hughley, the biscuit eaters, all right, because they got somebody stick a camera, okay? They gatekeepers, all right? Or they wouldn't move up the social ladder. If they wasn't gatekeepers, why they ain't talking to you? Why they got to go to a secret meeting with a piss-colored heifer who can't make up her mind what color she is because she went to a HBU college? Good black people, if there's such a thing left in America, do what your parents taught you. Go fight. Go fight for your rights. Go fight for the existence of your children. If not, then I'll see you when the Supreme Court changes their mind and they make abortion legal because you had a piss-colored heifer that you want on your doorstep. This is your boy, Mr. Political. This has not been sweet for me. This has been quite hurtful for me. But I'm going to say it anyway, and I'm going to keep on saying it, and hopeful that I can get a response back from you, at least an amen, or a comment about my beat, because we got smoke, good people, and this is your boy, Mr. Political, and I am out.
Make sure to go to LANCESCURV.com, an online magazine established in 2001, containing written articles, thousands of talk shows and discussions, cutting-edge cartoons, as well as erotic expressions and tasteful adult photography. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Once you get a taste of the world of LANCESCURV, trust me, you'll be back for more. LANCESCURV.com. Bold, raw, and uncut.